Hello, dear viewer. I'm back again, drinking more beer for your pleasure and, of course, mine. We're doing another one from the London. Welcome to London. And this one is over here, um, on the way, to kind of Wembley way. It's not near Wembley, in fact, but it's along the way. There is a nice article here by the lovely Robin Gilmore. It says in the shadow of the Westway. And it said Portobello Brewing. A Portobello Road Market and all that kind of stuff. Is it near? I mean, it's near the Westway, kind of, but it's north of the Westway. And for some unknown reason, the Westway, for me at least, brings back connotations of Paddington Station, Royal Oak Station, Latimer Road, um, what's that thing? The Notting Hill Carnival and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is the north side. Yeah, look at that. Nothing beats Notting Hills because Notting Hellers matters. So if you're saying it's Notting Hills, that's a play on Notting Hill, which is south of the Westway. I mean, I guess it's kind of that way. Who knows? Oh, and let's get this bad boy out. So, oh my God, it's almost like having a real map. We are over here somewhere. Oh, in fact, in a bit up there somewhere. And as if by magic, we have some description. It says Notting Hellers Gate. That's the name of the beer, as you can see, in Notting Hell's Gate. Is a crisp and clean sessionable lager. Oh God, session. They're using session for lager now. Sessionable lager. That just means you can drink lots of lager. 4%. Yeah, fair dues. Designed with everyday drinking in mind. Brewed to a German purity laws with premium noble hops such as what's that? Stybiller and Lubelski. They sound German to me, not. Bringing floral notes and restrained bitterness. And it says, I don't know if you can see, it says Kensal Green. So is that near Notting Hill? Maida Vale's probably there and all those other things. Dear viewer, what can I say? What can I say? And I have to apologise. It's been nuts. It's been nuts. So let me explain. Before I drink this wonderful beer, which is here, Notting Hell's Gate lager at 4%. And look, the old TFL logo, the tube logo, is all over that thing, mate. Sorry, I'm talking in a London accent, my dears. It's because it's welcome to London, isn't it? It's the London edition of the Beer 52 box. Or is it? I will discover this in a minute. Because so far, most of the beers have been brewed in the EU. London, EU, EU, London, they are not the same. But we shall see, dear viewer. We shall see. I digress. What's been happening? So on Thursday, I organised a social stroll around Broadstairs. And we went to 4 pubs in the end. I thought it was only going to be 3, but we did manage to squeeze in, and it was really good. The Sonder, which is a new pub. It's an old pub. It used to be called the 39 Steps, but they've done amazing things, and they've got like nearly 20 beers on. It's absolutely nuts. And if you're in Broadstairs for your holidays, I would highly recommend looking for Sonder. Yeah, it's a weird name. Say the 39 Steps, and everyone knows where that is. Yeah, so we started at Pub of the Year last year and this year. It has been announced now, so I can tell you it's a double header. Andy Hodder, double header at the Royston. Mind the Gap, the Sonder. We finished at the Magnet, and I had 16 beers across that stroll. Halves. I was definitely on halves. But yeah, 16 beers. So that's a lot of beer. Then, actually, was it 16? No, it wasn't 16. What am I talking about? Sorry, it was 8 beers. My God, sorry, I was thinking about a different time. Ah, I'll tell you why in a second. 8 beers, halves, 4 pints, doable. Friday, I went to a beer tasting evening in Faversham, and I had 20 beers, and that is 20 beers. I've counted them up today, and some cider. Sorry, it was a combination of beer and cider. Um, Ridiculous. And I've already been out today. It's Saturday today, and had one beer. If you're my friend on Untapped, I put all of them kind of a day late because yesterday got a bit messy. 20 beers and ciders. Some of the eight, I think the strongest one was 8.5%. Nuts, absolutely nuts. So I've drunk over 20 beer, no, 20, probably 25 beers, including this one, uh, in the last kind of 2 days. Just what's going on? Absolutely nuts. I'm blagging a bit because I don't know what's going on. But time for another beer, dear viewer. I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to blag. Blag free beer. No, only kidding. But yeah, it was really good to get out and about, which is cool. Look, there's the thing that says sessionable lager, blah, 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 blah. We've already read that. But what I want to know, where was this brewed? It says down here, brewed in the EU and then imported back to Britain. I'm really sorry, but what is going on? They've basically brewed all of these beers in the same brewery somewhere in the EU. Doesn't even say where in the EU, and then imported them all. Basically, they put them in different cans, looking like they're from lots of different breweries. I'm sure these have been brewed in the same brewery. What the fuck, basically. Anyway, Notting Hell's Gate. Perhaps this one should be brewed in the EU because it's a Helles or a Hells or Hell, which is predominantly a kind of, well, it's a German lager, but predominantly brewed in the south. Not always, but traditionally it's a lager from kind of Bavaria. So think Munich, that kind of stuff. It's not a Munich beer festival lager like a Marzen, for example. This is just an everyday drinking beer. It's an everyday German lager, but they call it Helles. The best example is probably Hofbrau as a lager, although there are others, Hackesfor, all that kind of jazz. And Hofbrau, the Hofbrau house, which I have actually been to, is where Hitler used to do speeches before he went completely bonkers and started killing everyone. You can see some of those speeches on YouTube, I believe, still. Quite interesting seeing someone giving, especially a Nazi, don't forget he was a Nazi, which was the Socialist Party of Germany at the time. This is in the 1930s, so almost 100 years ago. He was giving political speeches to a huge beer cellar full of people drinking Heller's beer. Very interesting. And we all know how that turned out. Not very well. My God. What am I talking about? I'm very sorry, dear viewer. I'm talking nonsense, waxing lyrical. We're almost 10 minutes in and I haven't even drunk any beer yet. Not in this video, anyway. Right. Let's get Notting Hell's Gate. I do like the name. That is cool. But why is this brewed in the EU? I have no idea. Oh, come on, get Nottingham. There we go. And cheesy grin. That took a while. My hand was shaking a bit there. One of the beers I had on Thursday was Delirium Tremens Red which is their fruity edition. Now, I'll tell you something, the clarity in this is not very good, not very Hell's like. I should have probably done a head check, but that's what I would call a fingernail's worth of head. Oh, look, lightly sparkling as well. That's nice. But still cannot see jack through this. So instantly, this is not really a Hell's beer. Hell's essentially, if you didn't know, or Helles, basically pale. It means pale, pale lager. So although the colour is quite pale, it also means you can see through it. It's not a hazy lager, which this one is. So not very true to style. Nice, getting the lager type aroma from the noble hops, which I guess I don't know off the top of these things, but it looks Czech, maybe. Lubelski sounds a bit Polish, perhaps, but I reckon they're probably Czech hops. I don't know. Not so yeah, common on European hops, to be honest. If it was British hops, like this beer is supposed to be, or London hops, perhaps, I would know, but no, don't know about these EU hops. German hops I know about. Yeah, and a bit of yeasty. Some lagers, especially German lagers, they do have a bit of yeastiness to them. Sometimes they taste a bit eggy, or smell a bit eggy, I should say, so sulphurous and that kind of stuff. This one not. This one's just a nice, gentle, yeasty kind of smell, which is cool. Hey, and by agitating, I have developed a little bit of the head, which is always cool. Right, dear viewer, thank you for sticking with me. Hopefully, you found this entertaining, and hopefully, I've yeah, got your brain thinking a little bit. Cheers and beers. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it is lager-like. It is German lager-like, which is cool. But for a Helles beer, it's a tiny little bit more fruity than probably normal. And by fruit, I'm drawn kind of between a grape, perhaps a grapey kind of thing, possibly. It's not as sharp as like a lemon and lime kind of thing that you do get from some lagers, yeah, but not this one. But it's a kind of a little bit sort of like sour lemon and lime, a little bit more watery kind of. It's not a zesty kind of thing. Definitely not like a peel. It's just like if you make a really weak concentrated fruit drink, where you put a concentrate and then add water. You water it down too much and it's a lemon and lime mix. It wouldn't be far enough, but there's a little bit of grapiness, like I said, to it. Not like a Nelson Sauvin, not that at all. This is very muted. Reasonably clean. The mouthfeel, it's not like a lager. So perhaps that is because I would think maybe there's some chill haze because I've had this in the fridge for a couple of days. Yeah, yeah, it's a shame. There's that kind of green fruit, and it's not apple. It's definitely a sort of sour grape or a sour lemony kind of thing. But yeah, bit watery, bit meh. Um, but unlike a really clean, crisp lager that would also be very clear, this haziness has given a bit of kind of a mouthfeel to it. It's a little bit thicker, tastes a bit thicker. more along the lines actually of like a Kolsch, something like that. A Colm kind of thing. Um, but yeah, not a Helles in my book. And traditional German Helles tend to be stronger. No surprise there for the Germans. Probably 4.5 is the minimum, and this one's 4, so it's not really on style that way either. They go up to sort of 6-ish, I guess, for a normal one, and then for fest beers or Marsens or whatever, they're little bit higher sometimes, 6.5, that kind of stuff. Look, there is a tiny bit of head. And this, because this is following German laws, and the Bavarians actually, really did follow the purity laws for ages and ages. There is no adjuncts in here, apparently. So this is all done from malts. Let's see, pale, Pilsner in a Helles, that's weird. Super pale malt and lager malt. Weird. But all very light, dear viewer. There is no real malty backbone. I'd say the hops take over, but just bittering essentially. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a lager. That's the other thing. I'm not really a lager man, although I have drunk plenty of lager in my time. It's not my favourite style because it's really easy to pick apart one that isn't as good as others. Maybe like this one. And I'm disappointed that it wasn't brewed in the UK, especially because it's meant to be a London beer. Nice medium carbonation. It's not super fizzy, so that's good. Really fresh. Um, but yeah, that sourness, the cloudiness, the fact that it's not brewed where it's supposed to be brewed, all kind of negatives really. And perhaps breweries that are involved in this should actually brew the beers themselves. And then if it all goes pear-shaped, probably blame that brewery. But I don't even know where this was brewed. So who knows? Notting Hell's Gate. There we go. Lager. 4%. Bit meh. Probably not the best beer I've had from this box. But yeah, I like to drink all kinds of styles. And I'll say it once again. This thing with the tasting notes in it, absolute genius. This has been your loving Unclejona. Please enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Enjoy your Sunday. And then it's back to work if, like me, you're a working person. But don't worry, Unclejona will return with another beer review real soon.